Coming up next on Tech News Today, Kerry Davis from Engadget joins me because Megan's out sick, unfortunately, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The EU is punishing Google for what it says is anti-competitive product search. Also, new ransomware is apparently making the rounds. Facebook reaches the 2 billion user milestone, how facial recognition is influencing behavior in China, and we take a closer look at Drive.AI. All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit. Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1798, recorded Tuesday, June 27th, 2017. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Home plays a big role in your life. That's why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. It lets you apply simply and understand the entire mortgage process fully so you can be confident that you're getting the right mortgage for you. Get started at rocketmortgage.com/TNT. And by Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. See what's on the menu this week and get 3 meals free with your first purchase and free shipping by going to blueapron.com/TNT. Hello and welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we talk about some of the biggest tech news stories of the day with people who are passionate about technology. I'm Jason Howell. As you can tell, Megan Maroney did not do part of the intro. She is out today. She wasn't feeling very well, and so we let her go. But joining us in her place is none other than Kerry Davis, once host of Engadget's In Case You Missed It, but you just launched a new show. First of all, how's it going, Kerry? It's great to get you back here.
Oh, thanks. It's so fun to be here. No, I'm doing very well. I've been back at Engadget for a month now after being gone for some medical stuff. And I came back and they were like, okay, cool. You immediately get to kill In Case You Missed It, which had been going for 2 years. So that was hard.
500 episodes, right? Well, almost anyways.
More than.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Online because...
Wow.
You know, just for CES and sort of that special event stuff. I didn't even want to count. You know that it's time to let something go when you just don't want to count them anymore. But I'm like, I don't know. But it was fun. It was really fun. But we just decided to sort of change gears. Now I'm doing this new show called Engadget Today. Nice. It's very simple. It's, remember the In Case You Missed It set? It kind of made you nauseous. So it was a lot of colors and craziness. This is much more kind of simple, clean. We hit just one topic and sort of go through the big kind of headline news of the day. And I like it. I still get a little, of my opinion in still. Engadget very much has a voice and we want to keep that consistent on video, but it's just sort of fun to hit the big story and then move on and get to do, that's today. You can tell I'm wearing the same thing.
It's like you had a Tech News Today precursor
yes.
to get you prepared for all the news that we'll talk about here.
I'm ready for you. Thank you for having me.
So where can people go to find your new show?
So if you go to Engadget and hit videos, you'll see the series tab for Engadget Today. But I also tweet it every day, or you can go to Facebook and check. I'm Ms. Kerry D on Twitter, but any of the internets works.
Excellent. That's the beauty of the internet. You can really find anything if you know how to use it. If you know how to use Google search, which we're going to talk about right now. After a lengthy 7-year probe, the European Commission has fined Google 2.42 billion euros. That's around $2.7 billion for promoting its own Google shopping ads and what it deemed to be an abuse of its own dominance for search. Google also faces a 90-day deadline for ending the anti-competitive practices under what the EU says anyways, before facing additional penalties up to 5% of Alphabet's average daily worldwide earnings for each day that it remains unchanged past that deadline. Potentially that could have been upwards of around 10%, but either way, this is the regulator's largest penalty to date in an antitrust case. So this is no small potatoes here, approximately $14 million per day based on the latest financial report. Did you ever use Google product search in any way? What do you think about this?
I mean, that is painful. Often when we have these sort of antitrust things, you read it and it's more of a slap on the wrist, but oh my God, 5%. So, that Google is paying attention to that. Who doesn't use Google product search?
I mean, Yeah, because it appears like when you do a normal search on a Google site, on Google's website, it's kind of like those easy to click on
images.
buttons that appear at the top in a carousel. There's a little call out that says sponsored, so you get the information that it's something that Google is doing on top of the actual search. But I guess somewhere, what was the figure? One study showed that shopping accounted for 74% of retail ads that were clicked inside Google search. So it's no small number. A lot of the kind of smaller outfits in the industry were complaining that why would anybody ever click to go to our site when Google's giving you the product that you're actually looking for up there? There's less incentive.
Cat basket right at the top.
Yeah,
no, I absolutely agree.
That's what you were looking for, was a cat basket. Here, Google has you covered.
Exactly.
Now, this has been a long time coming. The probe actually began based on complaints from Microsoft back in 2010. Microsoft and Google, apparently, they reached a deal last year. And so I'm assuming as a result of that, Microsoft isn't commenting on this. But, that obviously that's not going to stop the EU from ruling on this. We've been waiting, wondering what it was going to be. This is a pretty influential number, especially when you consider like this, search and the deals that Google makes with those in the commercial space and everything to surface those ads. That's a huge part of Google's business. This could change potentially how they lay out their business with search.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Do you, I mean, I'm just going to generalize. I feel like maybe you're the guy that clicks on the top row. I could be wrong.
So, I mean, I have. I don't know if I always do, but if I do a search and the thing that I'm looking for comes up in that picture,
yeah.
Well, you know what? But I say that, but then at the same time, it also has to match up with the actual destination. If it's like an Amazon link, because we're all Amazon heads these days, it seems like.
Yeah.
If it's the picture in an Amazon link, which I don't know if it ever is that, but if it were to be that, I'd be more inclined to click it than if it was the picture and some name I'd never heard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Do you ever click them?
Oh, of course. Yeah, but I also think like I'm a girl, right? So I'll put in the thing I want to buy and then I go to images. And then it's like more information, more visual information that I want to see to make my choice. But yeah, if it was right there in a Google ad. So I'm curious, Pinterest has got the market locked down in terms of shopping, like for clothes and things like that. A lot of women use it. That House has a good share of the market for home products shopping. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this could change how we shop online.
Yeah, and I should also point out, thank you for pointing this out, Burke, that the EU isn't giving any specific requirements or recommendations on how Google needs to change their practices. They're leaving that up to Google. So in 90 days, Google will have had to come up with some sort of solution to this on their own, and that should pass muster with the EU. So who knows what that leads to?
Right.
I guess
fun to come.
Yes, exactly. While WannaCry ransomware is still wreaking international havoc, new ransomware is shutting down businesses globally, and it might actually be worse than WannaCry. People all over the world are reporting that a cyber attack is causing systems to shut down, and The Verge says the attack has affected airlines, banks, and utilities, including operations at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, where they've been forced to switch to manual monitoring. That's scary stuff. Interpol says it is closely monitoring the situation. This is apparently there's some confusion on what to call it. Petya or Petya wrap, not Petya.
Petya no.
No, yeah, not Petya. Petya no. Who knows? I don't even know what to call it. Petya something. But it's all kind of based around the similar tools that were released to the world in that NSA leak. The ransomware last month was very related. What do you think about this?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to keep it straight, right? Because there's like WannaCry, and then there's the Eternal Blue. This comes from the same exploit that was Eternal Blue. Right. It's a hot mess. And the most interesting thing to me, I mean, there are a few, but they mostly targeted banking systems and all that in the Ukraine. That's the most targeted country rather. And so then of course that makes everybody scream, who did this? The Russians. They're just behind.
And who knows? Who knows? But it seems like you hear more and more about the Russians every single day these days.
I noticed they're getting more and more recognition.
Yeah, they're in the news a lot. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You decide. But yeah, I mean, and the internet, obviously the internet is not confined to a single place. So even if it is targeting the Russian or targeting the Ukraine, it's expanding out beyond. Now there's some reports in the U.S., Merck, there's a Pittsburgh hospital, DLA Piper law offices, who I've never heard of, but there you go. Whatever, it's there. Yeah. Also, other places. Basically, it's starting to spread internationally. And if WannaCry is any indication, this could have a very wide reach by the time it's actually the hatches are battened down.
Yeah, and so we should actually be very afraid. I guess I was joking because it's fun to joke. But the truth is, especially with the Chernobyl vulnerability, it's scary. I think the other interesting thing, I think you mentioned this, is that it targeted that Windows SMB file sharing system early on. And so Windows technically Windows was contacted to see if they wanted to say anything about this newest exploit, and they're just kind of keeping mum, and that they say that they're continuing to investigate. So basically this means if you have Windows, you might be vulnerable. Even though they had that patch. So yeah, it's pretty scary. What's going on out there, Jason?
I don't know. I wish I could help all of you. I wish we had the tools to help all of you from ransomware. But I think the general insight that you continue to hear around stories like this is, by and large, to a large degree, ransomware spreads because of email that has some sort of
stupid link,
unknown file attached to it, and all it really takes is one person in the wrong network to open that file or to open that email, and it's end of story. So be vigilant.
I mean, I just got an email today from somebody who was like, I'm a tech writer and blah blah blah, and here's my portfolio link. I'm like, was I born yesterday?
Here's my portfolio link .dmg application.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it.
I made it. It's animated. I made it fun to look at my portfolio.
Can I tell you that my favorite part about this really terrible, actually not good story is that Ukraine tweeted out my very favorite. There it is. My very favorite meme of all time, saying, "You know what? No need to panic. We're on it. It's going to be okay.
This is fine." As the room burns around you. Yeah, this is one of my favorite memes, and I feel like there's always, every day, there's a reason to use that meme in one way or another. In this case, and is very, very similar with other cases like this, Petya wrap, which is another word for it, basically infects the computer once that is opened, that infected attachment is open, encrypts the computer with private keys, and then they're asking for $300 in Bitcoin. And I guess they've had a decent amount of people pay the Bitcoin. There's no word on whether they have then gained access again to that lost data. So that's the other important part of this equation. So
bribery.
I don't know what to tell you there. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Facebook says the social network has officially hit 2 billion users. That's 1/4 of the world's population that uses Facebook every month. The company's 13 years old. That's crazy when you think about it.
It's a teenager.
Oh, it's growing up. It's got a little pimply face. The company's 13 years old. It hit its first billion users only 5 years ago. So it took only another 5 years to get its second billion. Facebook has more users than any other social media service. Just by comparison, YouTube has only 1.5 billion people. WeChat has 889 million, Twitter 328 million, and Snapchat 255 million. Where do you stand on the Facebook has insane amounts of users? We should all be okay with this fact. Where do you stand?
Yeah, it's a quarter of the world's population. I'm so curious to see what Facebook is going to do with that many people. If it were connecting us with people in other parts of the world, that'd be interesting. I don't know. It's kind of the same old family, friends, and crazy ranty relatives.
Yeah,
in my world of Facebook.
Yeah, and I mean, I have not used Facebook since the beginning of December. At this point, I'm just seeing how long I can take it. I only had planned to step away for a month. That was my initial plan. And like my I'll see you guys later post on Facebook was, I'm going to take a month off and see what happens. And I keep staying away from it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's improved my life or what, but I think one of my big reasons, and I've definitely talked about it on the show, is that as Facebook gets bigger, as that network effect grows, like I don't know what that leads to when that many people are being funneled through this one communication platform that's infinitely trackable, that's infinitely easy to spread whatever information on. Where does that lead to as it gets bigger and more things more companies, more institutions rely on that distribution network? But I know that Facebook and Zuckerberg, they're kind of on a mission right now to really move towards more socially conscious efforts. That's part of what's moving Zuckerberg to do his round the country travels and
Iowa. That's why he's in Iowa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Touchdown in Iowa. This is my kind of place.
I'm like, wait, hold on. Yeah. I'm from the Midwest though, so I get to say that. I'm like, I don't know, Zuck. I don't know how down with the people you are. If he like hung out and did like some farming, maybe then.
Threw some hay bales.
Just going to a diner.
Yeah. I could see him
I don't know.
that. And they have their new mission statement. Of course, that was a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was even last week. I don't know. The weeks seem like ages ago.
Fine. You proved me wrong.
There you go. See, he got out on the farm. He fed some cows.
Eating a cow.
Their new mission statement, of course, give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together, which is harnessing all of those numbers and potentially moving that into real world change, which was kind of a part of that announcement. And I hope they're able to mobilize that and do good, because I think there's a lot of good that can be done with numbers like that. There's also a lot of not so good that can be done when you've got all the world's population funneled through one single company like Facebook. So.
Yeah, I apologize for being such a hater, because I don't even know where I stand on Facebook. On the one hand, I love that I've lived all the places and I can still sort of, touch base with friends in Maryland and my hometown in North Dakota. And I've got this network sort of spread across the country, and Facebook is the only place where everyone is, or most everyone is. Yep. So that's the beauty of it, right? But of course, there's so many downsides. So that 2 billion number sort of, I think, gave everybody pause. Like, okay, what does this mean? Where do we what lives do you want to lead? Like, for example, Twitter, it had that sad little number. You're on Twitter. Is it every tech journalist on Twitter and then that's it pretty much?
Sometimes that's what it feels like. I mean, right. And yeah, it's like people, I mean, obviously there's everyone, people from all walks of life are on Twitter, but it suffers from the same shortcomings of any social network, which is that your experience is molded by who you choose to surround yourself with in there. And I mean, that's a huge part. Like I don't really do any, like, outside of tech and news and Android and whatever other technology related passions I have. That's all channeled through Twitter. I don't keep in touch with my family through Twitter, maybe very, very rarely, but it's not a communication platform like that, because I've surrounded myself with a very particular group of people like journalists. So sometimes it really feels that way. It feels like we're
an echo chamber for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that becomes a challenge on Twitter, which is much smaller than Facebook, let alone Facebook's massive numbers,
Isn't it funny when you get retweeted by a family member that you didn't even know was following you? And you're like, oh, God, now you know who I am. It's like Twitter's the dark side and Facebook's like, the shiny, happy, like Instagram life.
It's like, oh, man, they're watching me here, huh?
Exactly. It feels kind of awkward.
I'm happy I know this now.
The one thing that I liked about the Facebook 2 billion announcement was, of course, because it's Facebook, they then said they'll be rolling out personalized videos of sort of your, each person's full experience on Facebook. And a lot of it hadn't been filled in yet. I clicked on the sort of see yours now, even though it might not be done. And mine said, in the last month, you've made 2 new friends. And I was like, that is the saddest number. Thanks, Facebook.
In the Facebook realm, maybe, but I mean, in real life, like, how often do we make new friends in real life?
That's true.
When we're so busy in our day-to-day lives, like, I don't know. It sounds okay.
Yeah. All right, fine. You made me feel better. Thank you.
Always looking for the positive. Most of the time, anyways. Facial recognition technology promises a lot of cool technological applications. You know, Google Photos, for one, is doing pretty interesting stuff with it. But it's easy to see how it can go an entirely different direction. In China, the technology is actually being utilized in public areas like subway stations, streets, and airports to identify people who might break the law and persuade them from doing so. An example, a jaywalker could be identified as a repeat offender while jaywalking, and their name would be flashed on the crosswalk screen, convincing that person in a not so subtle way to never cross illegally again. I don't know what the news hook is here, because I'm sure this has just been slowly evolving and developing over time. I just found it fascinating and kind of in kind of a way where you compare it to, you know, all of the science fiction that we've heard and read and watched in movies and everything for however many years. And it seems like the end game, the thing that you fear out of technology is that you end up having, you know, facial recognition, which is cool technology in and of itself, but then it gets used to basically control the population and say, we're always watching you. And oh, by the way, we also always know who you are. So think twice before doing that jaywalk or whatever.
Yeah. I was really sad to see this story because I hate it when the tin hat society is right. I mean, this is why people have, you know, avatars in social media posts, because they don't want to be recognized,
right,
and have it used against them. So I don't know. I have some problems with this. I guess it's where society is going. But like, you know, I'm okay if they use it to catch mass murderers. But for jaywalking, like that's what we're going to use that for.
Well, yeah, that ends up being the challenge, right? The slippery slope. Use it for mass murderers, but in order to use it for mass murderers, you have to use it all the time, because then you catch when the mass murderer is there crossing the street or whatever. Walk through an intersection, the computer identifies a person, notifies the authorities if necessary. Apparently,
I'm not okay with.
Yeah, in a single month, the pedestrian scanning netted more than 60 wanted people detained. So this is kind of what you're talking about. But the trade-off for that, of course, is that everybody's being scanned at all times. So they know, whoever they are, probably Chinese, law enforcement, where you are. And obviously the direct comparison is Minority Report. Burke, you also pointed this out. But I don't know. I don't know if this is something that we just assume is going to happen everywhere, because I don't think it's happening to this level in the U.S., but what do I know?
What do you know?
Not a whole lot.
So would you wear a disguise? Would you go out in the street and like fake mustache? I mean, what do you do? What do we do?
That's a really great question, because I mean, from what I understand about facial recognition is that, well, I don't know. I'm assuming if you wore a disguise, it would still be able to take the points of your face that it can recognize and be able to use that too, like distance of your eyes, shape of your nose. You know what I mean? Like you might be able to, unless you're obscuring the entire dang thing.
Mask. We just have to go like full Bill
mask.
Clinton.
We have to go full Snapchat, but in our real actual lives, and put.
I think that's the next step.
That is the next step.
Right. And plus the other flaw in this whole plan is this social media shaming or social shaming that they assume that there's this buy-in that people care if they're shamed, that will make them change their behavior. But I think here in the U.S., we already have some examples of that not actually working.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know.
See, that would work. Like a mustache with a little green outline. Totally work, right? You'd never know it was me.
Okay, if you just had some spectacles. Oh, dang.
Brian is good. He's very good. Although he can't quite rotate with you, but he's not Snapchat good, but he's TriCaster good.
Floral crown, anybody?
Sunglasses, come on. I thought this example was interesting. In restrooms in public areas, they're monitoring for toilet paper theft, because apparently the limit is 1 2-foot length for every 9 minutes. They've broken it down to minutes that you're in the bathroom and converted that into how much toilet paper you are allowed.
Now, hold on.
Go ahead and let that sink in.
I'm just going to say that I don't know that that's actually good for society, only because you don't know what that person is dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, if you limit them and then they walk around, there's a situation. I think that is not good for society.
No, I'm definitely not saying that to say that it is. I would completely agree.
Let's take that to the Chinese authorities.
Let's see if we can convince them. Yes.
Minds and hearts.
All right. Quick reminder that you can comment on anything that we discuss by emailing tnt@twit.tv. And of course, you can always subscribe to the show, Tech News Today, by going to our show page at twit.tv/TNT. After the break, is that artificial intelligence on the top of your self-driving car? Or are you just happy to see me? But first, let's take a minute to thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. They're the sponsor of this episode. The mortgage experience, if you've ever gone through it, you know it hasn't been keeping up with the times. It's dated. It needed a client-focused technological revolution, and that is why Quicken Loans created Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage gives you the confidence that you need when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. It's very simple. It allows you to fully understand all of the details, be completely transparent and confident that you're getting the right mortgage for you, specific to your situation. It's convenient. Their trusted partners allow you to share your financial information with Rocket Mortgage at the touch of a button. It's also powerful. Whether you're looking to buy your first home or even your 10th, Rocket Mortgage is able to perform thousands of calculations in seconds. It's based on your income, assets, and credit, and that gives Rocket Mortgage what it needs to analyze all of the home loan options for which you qualify. And then you can find the right one for your scenario and go with it. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/TNT. That's rocketmortgage.com/TNT. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support of Tech News Today. Uber, Waymo, Tesla, Apple, just a few of the names that we talk about, self-driving car news, and we talk about it on the show a lot. But today's guest says that one of the hottest startups in this space is one you've probably never heard of. Welcome back to the show, CNN tech writer Matt McFarland. How's it going, Matt?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to get you back. So I feel like we've talked about Drive.AI on the show in the past. Tell us a little bit about Drive.AI and what you know about them.
Sure. Drive.AI is a Silicon Valley startup. They're basically building the technology to drive a vehicle, whether it's a truck or a car. They're based in Mountain View, California. It was started by a bunch of students who met in grad school at Stanford. And they've been at it for about 2 years now and have shown a lot of growth. They just announced that they raised $50 million.
Wow. Okay. So they've got some momentum going on here, and I mean, if you see some of these setups, Drive.AI, it's a roof-mounted system, and so it kind of sticks out a little bit. They've actually got screens on the top of the cars right now. Why are those necessary when compared to kind of other competitors in the space, or even traditional cars? Why do they have screens on the top?
Yeah, it's fairly bulky, but so their thinking was that they want a way for the vehicle to really communicate with, say, pedestrians or any human who might be on the road. It's not, as easy for us to tell a robotic car, or what we're doing when you might be a pedestrian, and it's tough for a car to say, oh, why don't you cross the street now? But if they can display that on their screen, then there's real value there. So.
Hey, Matt, Kerry here. My question is, just looking over your story, I knew immediately that car makers like Ford and even Delphi in the space, but in particular, sort of the more established car manufacturers will say, like, that's all great, but we've already been making cars. We're the experts in this field. Not to mention that their cars built in have more than just the stuff on the top, but they have sensors, all around the front. I think Ford's latest effort has something like 200 sensors all around the car, not just at the top. So how are they competing with that?
Right. So Drive.AI isn't going to start manufacturing their own cars. They know what they are really good at, and that's software, that's artificial intelligence and deep learning. They aren't going to, start making vehicles. Their role is really to be kind of the brains, the thinking, the cognitive aspect of the self-driving car. So the thinking is that they will essentially be a partner and supply these kits. Initially, they'll do a retrofit kit that would be sold to a business that could add it to their vehicles and then use it for something like ride hailing or logistics or delivery.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Comma.ai, right? That was
yeah.
that was I mean that was going to be a retrofit car kit as well, right?
Right. Yeah. Comma. That was right. That you would essentially. The Comma is a little bit simpler. The idea of what the dash cam that you kind of pop in and whatnot. The Drive.AI setup seems a little bit more robust.
Matt, can you tell me how many sensors then they have at the top?
I want to say it's probably about a dozen total, but I don't have the numbers in front of me. But yeah, it's a variety of sensors, cameras, LiDAR, radar, like essentially basically what almost everyone in the space is using.
Okay.
And then a nice big screen on the very front. Do they have plans to kind of tighten it up a little bit and make it any more elegant than it is at this point?
I didn't ask them that specifically, but I do think we'll see them follow kind of that typical tech evolution where you go from the large Michael Douglas or say, the huge cell phone down to the smaller, sleeker one. So.
Down to from Michael Douglas to Zoolander is where we're going to go, right? Okay.
Exactly.
And who exactly are they planning on selling these kits to? Is it direct? It's partnerships? What are their plans there?
Right. Yeah. They're looking at businesses. They're different from, say, like a Waymo, who you might see really thinking a lot about consumers and, say, getting kids to soccer practice or something. Drive.AI is really thinking about the enterprise sector. What can they do, for example, with, say, helping get a delivery from one warehouse to another? When I talked to their CEO, he mentioned interest in, say, even municipal vehicles, so that they could see maybe helping with an emergency response vehicle or a fire truck or something on the road.
Okay. Now, also some news. Andrew Ng just joined the board of directors. What's important about this move? Why do you think this is important for Drive.AI?
Right. So Andrew he's a big name in the world of AI. He's had some really important jobs. He's accomplished a lot. He's in touch with the cutting edge, the tip of the spear of what can be done with AI. So to have Andrew there helping to chart their strategy and what they're going to be doing with AI, that's just really valuable to have someone of his caliber in the room to say, hey, have we thought about trying this or that, or maybe we should hire this person or whatnot. And it should help too with, say, recruiting. Everybody wants the best people in self-driving cars, so to have him on board is appealing.
Matt, I know how skeptical everyone is or hesitant they are to talk about price, but are they talking about sort of ballpark for how much this might cost?
No, I can't speak to any price at this time. Yeah, so.
Well, then we'll just have to keep saving.
Be more expensive, right? Yeah.
I mean, I've got some money in my pocket, but I don't think it's enough for this.
$2.
Yeah, $2. All right, cool. I'm sold. We can make it an episode of Know-How here. And the overall goal, the long, far-reaching goal here, I guess, would be the big differentiator between something like Comma, which isn't actually a real product, so I don't know why I'm comparing it to them. At one point, it was possibly going to be a product that consumers could install. Yeah, GitHub. Exactly. Now it's been open sourced. But the idea here is that this is not appealing to the consumer that just wants to do their own self-driving kit. This is really targeted at enterprise solutions.
Right, exactly. Selling businesses.
Yeah. All right. Matt McFarland, you're a tech writer at CNN, and we really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us a little bit about this. Thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you on Twitter?
I'm at Matt McFarland on Twitter.
Awesome.
So, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to get you back, Matt, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Sounds good.
All right. Coming up, we're putting neural networks to work because, kids don't pick up their Legos and stuff. But first, Let's take a minute to thank Blue Apron, the sponsor of this episode. Cooking together builds strong family bonds. Blue Apron's mission is actually to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone while supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest standards for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. I've been getting Blue Apron boxes now for quite a while, and we love it. It's like Tuesday, we get the Blue Apron box. It's full of a bunch of food. We unpack it. We know over the next couple of days what those recipes are going to be, which one falls on what day. Sometimes the kids help us make those meals because it's all packaged in a way that makes it's like a food kit in a box for less than $10 per person per meal. So it doesn't cost that much when you compare it to other things like eating out. And for that, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. And it doesn't take much more than 40 minutes tops or less. There's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. You can customize your recipes every week based on your dietary preferences. You can choose from a variety of new recipes each week, or let Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. All sorts of meals that you can look forward to. It really just depends on which menu you want to select or which one they select for you. But seared chicken and creamy pasta salad with summer squash and sweet peppers, creamy shrimp rolls with quick pickles, that's fun to say, and sweet potato wedges, fresh basil fettuccine pasta with sweet corn and cubanelle pepper. There's chili butter steaks with Parmesan potatoes and spinach. And I'm sorry, Kerry, I know you were probably hungry. Now you're even hungrier. So there you go. Blue Apron has established partners with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the U.S. By shipping the exact amount of each ingredient required for a recipe, Blue Apron is reducing food waste, and their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they're going to make it right for you. Check out this week's menu, and you'll get 3 meals free with your first purchase and free shipping. All you have to do is go to blueapron.com/TNT. You're going to love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. Check it out for yourself. Go to blueapron.com/TNT and experience Blue Apron. It's a better way to cook. Blue Apron is awesome, and you won't go hungry anymore. At least not for dinner. Michael in Las Vegas wrote in our feedback section here about our discussion of the Echo Show, which I'm sure you have opinions on, but we'll get that in a second, Kerry. He said, for me, a longtime user of the Sony Dash, which was recently abandoned by Sony support, the show belongs on a bedroom night table with no effort. You can start your morning with visual world news, sports, and entertainment briefings, along with a visual weather forecast. You can add sports and entertainment videos, cartoons, and news photos. He says the Dash was very limited in all of these respects, but it has been better than an audio-alone morning update. And, of course, we know studies have shown we remember more of what we see than what we hear. First of all, do you have any of these home assistants in your home? Are you living with any of these?
I have an Echo Dot that is often on mute because me and my husband tend to be paranoid. But yes, and I totally see what he's saying there. That makes sense. It's true that we remember better if we see something visually. Yeah. But I still don't think it should be in the bedroom, only because if you enable people to drop in on you at any time, which is one of the features, I don't know. Even if you're just sleeping in, it's just not a good look.
No. In fact, I still struggle to know like who I would ever like enable that for. I know. I mean, I suppose audio is one thing, but video, I don't know. It just crosses the line for me.
Yeah, and if you saw, if you watch the video, you can be grayed out for a hot second and then decide if you're kind of accepting the drop in. So there's going to be some really great hit the deck moments amongst, I don't know, the college age crowd. I'm kind of into it. I would like to be, if you have little people in your life, like my sister has 4 kids, if they could call me at any time, oh my God, that would make me so happy, and vice versa. Like, I just want to see their lives. So I kind of think it's great. Amazon, again, proving that they're kind of a genius in this space. What I don't like about how popular, the Echo is, and then versus the Google Home, is that once again, you have to choose what kind of family you are, because, are you a Google family or are you an Echo family? Can we please just get them to talk to each other? Because, I don't, you're going to want to be able to send messages and talk to people regardless of device.
Yeah, you're going to want, and you're going to need to decide what you actually want this for. Google Home is really great for, tapping into the knowledge graph that Google has and being really smart with questions. There was a study, I can't remember if we mentioned it on yesterday's show, where Google Home was found to be like, I don't know, they asked it 3,000 questions, both Google Home and the Amazon Echo, and Google Home was like 6 times more responsive to those questions than the Amazon Echo. So for the majority of like your informational stuff, Google Home is going to be really great. Amazon Echo is really good for products and shopping, and I think also home control it's pretty strong at too. Even though I feel like Google Home is pretty strong there too, but I think the Amazon Echo has an edge at least right now. So yeah, there's a lot of siphoning off capabilities between the devices. Yet what we really want is a fully interconnectable system so that everybody has the best of all worlds.
You must have a Google Home, I'm guessing.
I do have a Google Home. I have a couple actually.
Oh, hey.
Hey, I have one in the living room and one in the kitchen, none in the bedroom. I just don't think this digital assistants need to go into the bedroom.
I kind of agree. So does Google Home have the intercom system set up the way the Echo does?
No, and that would be actually a great feature. Maybe not for me because the kitchen and the living room are pretty darn close. Like I'd be really lazy if I decided to intercom my kids in the room next door through that. But if it's a multi-level house, you have one upstairs, downstairs, and in the bedrooms or whatever, I could see that being really useful. And that's a feature that I think I would look forward to if I was in the Echo sphere.
Yeah, they're probably. I bet Google Home's going to do it in a hot second.
Google Home has the calling, so there's that. It has the free phone calling.
That is genius. That makes me want a Google Home. No, but don't they have that already? You can call cell phones and landlines through the Google Home.
I don't know if it's rolled out yet, and if it has, I haven't set it up yet. But I'm looking forward to it because there have been many times where I'm in the kitchen, like cooking or whatever. I need to make a call, and the last thing I want to do is pull out my phone and make the call. I just like to do it on the Google Home. That'd be awesome. So
yeah,
they all have their strengths. I just don't know if I need a screen yet on these, but.
Well, I'll tell you one thing why I'm into this screen is that my show Engadget today is going to be, you can watch it instead of just getting the flash briefing.
There you go. All right, you've sold me.
Sorry.
That's a good reason. That is a very good reason.
I mean,
Yeah? Oh, I know. TNT's fan of the day is TechJP on Instagram, who sent us this picture saying, just walking Buttercup. Everybody sends us their picture of their dog, and I assume that they're listening or watching TNT while on the dog walk.
Hey, Buttercup.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Little person.
Yes. So we're happy you sent in these pictures, and we're happy that you walk the dog while listening or watching TNT, although maybe it's better to listen to TNT and watch your dog. I will allow that. Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup. You can post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we'll find it. Finally, we talk about all artificial intelligence all the time on this show. If AI can help China analyze the faces of millions of Chinese citizens, then surely it can sort your Legos for you so you don't have to. Selling Lego, by the way, can be very lucrative. People pick them apart and sell them piece by piece because some kits are short and they need to fill those kits and everything. But sorting Legos is a real drag. So a fellow by the name of Jacques Mathieu built a prototype Lego sorter out of repurposed industrial gear, a treadmill, and apparently lots of crazy glue. The pieces flash past a camera that's set up in the lineup that helps a neural network based on those pictures classify the pieces and then pitch them into the appropriate tub that's at the bottom. Then all he has to do is go in after the fact and error correct. And and because it's a neural network, it learns over time. So as he error corrects, it gets better and better at sorting Lego. Pretty ingenious.
Yeah. So it took him. So this video gets better the longer it goes, but it took him 6 months to build his odd, treadmill contraption. So kudos for that. Apparently he had a garage full of just boxes of Legos, and that's why he sort of took this on. I do love it when people just totally geek out about their hobby. I think that's really, really fun. So I'm amazed. This whole thing is amazing.
Totally. It's like a challenge. It's like, man, this would be really easy if I had a machine that would just recognize the pieces. We have the technology. We can do this.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
So he wants to build like a cottage industry where he sells Lego kits. So I think that's why he didn't just sort the existing Legos he had. He sort of went whole hog. But I know this guy. I kind of married a guy just like this. Like, oh, it's a challenge. You know what would be better? So I mean, what in the world? I'm so impressed.
That's awesome. And as it gets better and better and refined over time, who knows? Maybe he could mass market the machine, sell it to other, get it produced, sell it to other Lego fanatics. Burke's shaking his head no. You don't think that other Lego fanatics exist along those lines?
They exist.
Burke says that might be the slowest Lego sorter. No, Burke, this isn't the kind of thing that you do for speed. This is the kind of thing that you do so that it's always working and for the challenge.
As a challenge. He challenged himself.
Okay, but Burke is pushing back on the fact that it was sorted very well when you looked into those tubs, and I don't know.
True. In the video that you're like, maybe, but supposedly after he went like through all of these pieces, it correctly identified 20,000 different images. So it takes a while, with this sort of technology, they have to see a lot of different things.
Right.
I once did a video for one of the stories, and in case you missed it, was about a guy who was working with I think it was Intel, but I could be wrong. But anyways, he was training neural net to sort his cucumbers. He was a cucumber farmer.
It's a lot of cucumbers.
Because apparently you had to sort them by hand, which grade they are. And some Asian countries that really matters, like, will you buy the fanciest of cucumbers or will you buy anyways? So it was really working. So there is a practical application for this, but there's that or there's Legos. You make your choices.
Yeah, we all make life choices. How do we feel about those life choices? Lego, cucumber. It's
Can you imagine how he introduces himself at parties? What do you do?
I do this.
Sort Legos.
He pulls it out on his phone, shows a video. Is this what you're talking about? Or is this just a rant because Brian is awesome?
Brian is awesome. That could be it. Yeah, we did that looks like the machine. I think that's right. And in case you missed it, the thumbnail image, which our editor here, kind of like Brian, had way too much fun with, and I always look like a crazy person, but it was like Kerry's cucumber farm, and I'm like holding a basket of cucumbers. I think that's it. Slightly more highbrow than the Lego sorter.
But really of the same ilk. I mean, it looked like it was doing basically the same thing. It's just no Lego pieces. It's actually produce. So, yeah. Cool stuff. Kerry Davis, it's always great getting you on. I'm really happy that we had the opportunity to bring you back again, even though it means that Megan is not feeling well. Hopefully she gets better, but thank you for being my co-pilot on today's TNT.
Oh my God, I was frightened. I was so afraid. Thank you so much. This was really fun, but I hope Megan gets better too.
Absolutely. So final opportunity. Where should people go to find all the cool stuff in your new show and all that?
I think best place is Twitter, even if it's no family there. Maybe that makes it better. Ms. Kerry D is my handle. And in addition to Engadget Today, our daily show, my ongoing series, The Future IRL, in which we explore crazy sort of Jetsons-like topics, that's in production again. So there will be future episodes of that coming out as well.
Wow. So you're going to be really busy once that kicks in too.
Allegedly.
Good.
Yes.
Being busy is a good thing. Really appreciate it, Kerry. Thank you again.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 2300 UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us, tnt@twit.tv, or leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT show. You can find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV. And by the way, we do have a subreddit. If you want to go into the subreddit and vote things up, vote things down, we discuss all the stories that we talk about here, technewstoday.reddit.com. And I said it earlier, I'll say it again, find all the ways to subscribe to our show on our show page at twit.tv/TNT. If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Jason Howell. Thanks again to our technical director, Brian Burnett, for pushing buttons and occasional mustaches in pre-show. Thanks to Burke for helping out here in the studio, an occasional thumbs up. Thanks to Kevin for editing the show. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Want a high five?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.